What's up, everyone? So, it's kind of like a follow-up to the Briggs build. If you haven't seen the other one, go ahead and find it. It's putting this together as a recap. 24mm Mikuni header. We also put a billet flywheel, billet rod bearings, governor, delete. We ported and polished the head, and I did other random stuff like take off the low oil warning light and whatnot. I was thinking about shaving the head. I'm not going to, mainly because the only sander I have available is not quite wide enough for that. I might look and double check, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Even then, I don't think it's really needed. But a couple things I do want to do, because I do know I feel like this jet is just not adequate enough. It's just a little lean. Now the pin on in the throttle is set on the needle too. The needle has 5 marks. It's set to the middle one. I kind of want to keep it that way because the weather can change and a whole bunch of things. So I kind of want to keep it in the middle. I'd rather adjust the jet, and I have other jets. I also think it might be idling a little lean as well. So we'll be taking a look at that carburetor. In addition, we're going to be taking a look at this gasket. The factory one seems to be a little thin, and when I tried to pull on it, I kind of saw a little mist every now and then, just very briefly, and it seemed like it was coming from there. I cranked down on the actual carburetor, and it worked out pretty well, and so I'm not too concerned over that. In addition, it came with this plug. I mean, it's not horrible, it's a Champion, but I want to put an NGK in there, so we'll do that. And at that point, we should be pretty much set, so I'm going to go ahead and let's do that. Took a closer look at the carb, and now it definitely has a pressure release, so it's not going to be that problem, but onward and forward. It's definitely fuel. But this one, of course, it's not going to take that screwdriver. This carb does have a fuel bowl drain, which is what I'm going to attempt to unscrew now. This thing's really in there. There we go. And some might get on the table, and some will hopefully go on that very clean cup. There we go. I got the tubes mixed up, that's why. Now, when you run this, you do want to run premium fuel. This is premium non-ethanol. I even thought about putting like an octane booster just in case, but I'm not running too high of compression, especially since I haven't shaved the head or have a thin head gasket. But it's already pretty close. Not going to be too alarmed on it. But we'll let that drain out, and then we'll take off the actual bowl of the carburetor. Do you ever have that friend that is a blast? Probably one of your best friends, most likely. But whenever you introduce them to people, you always have to be like, kind of like a warning. I feel like that's like my relationship with Mikuni. They are great. They're probably one of the best carbs for especially this scenario. But for whatever reason, it's always like a warning about it. Like, okay, they are a tad temperamental. Now that's for the idle-ish, kind of. It affects the idle, let's just put it that way. So what do we have here? Can you see that number? Oh, there goes the screw. I think that says 85. I think. Pretty sure it does. So these are just like little random jets that I've collected over the years. You can buy kits. And the problem with buying a kit, even though they're great, and you should always do that because the pre-made kits are horrible, you end up with a whole lot of this. So we have an 85 there. Seems kind of small to me, but okay. 115. I don't think we'll have to go that high, but we'll find out. So there's a small kit and a high kit. 100. That's better than 115. That one might be a good contender. 110. That's for a different carb. 120. 170. Oof. But that would be a black smoke. 168. I think 100 might be our good one right now. I don't think I remember seeing much smaller than that. 140. 178. 105. Getting kind of better. 108. 175. So then you have options here. I'll just take them all out. If we can't find like a 90 something, then we'll just go with that. The 100. I think that's all of them. 155. 125. 160. 180. 172. Okay, well that's the one we're gonna go with, 100. In my opinion, it's always better to have a larger jet and put the needle down a little bit more than it is to have a there it is. A smaller jet and just have the needle all the way up. I need an 8mm. So with the 8mm on there, we should be able to just take out the jet and put in a new one. Actually, no, these jets, I should have just stopped while I was ahead. You take out the whole thing. Nope, not that one. Never mind. I know what I'm getting at. Okay, let's crank that down a little bit. Oh, garage dog. The good thing is, once you have these, then if you ever need a 85 again, it's there for you. This is quite a bit longer, so we will just hope that it's in there. So put this back on and see if this is even a possibility, or we just have to stick with it. Nope, we have to stick with it. Unless for some reason I can find another emulsion tube. So this is a micro drill set. You find a drill bit that fits with no obstruction, which is this one. So we know we don't need that one anymore. We want the one that's just a little bit bigger, just the one up from it. And these numbers, just to make it easy, coincide nothing at all with the numbers on here. So we're just gonna kind of persuade it through our jet. We do have in fact I have it here, like a little handle to go with it. Let's just make our lives easier, why don't we? I really don't want to have to do this, but I also don't want to have my needle all the way down. Okay. And even then, it's not going to hurt it that much. So let's put this back on. I looked at it, and there's a fine difference between like a larger carburetor, like the one you find like in a, like I had an old 660 carburetor around here, and the bowl, exactly the same size, exactly the same shape, except for a little bit of a different setup on the, with some type of vent on this one. It was I think that wasn't on the other one. Anyway, long story short, it didn't work. I was thinking of changing the bowl, because these will work on there. So now that we're thoroughly disappointed, let's just take a look at the pilot jet too. I mean, this looks to be about the same. And if we need to fine tune it as well, we could use that screw. So usually these have the same type of numbering. Oh wow, except I can't even see it. $819 or I don't even know. Let's take a look at the difference. Was this clogged? Okay, no, it wasn't. So that's the one we need. Let's just not get that correct mixed up. 42. 45. No, they won't work anyway. Look how much bigger they are. I'll tell you. This carburetor. Oh well. I'm looking at that. Oh well. I guess we could do the same thing to that. Yeah. Why not? Let's go ahead and do the same thing to this one. So I found one. It appears to be the right one that we're going to want, but the reason why I'm not too apprehensive about this one is it seems like the smaller they are, the amount of depth it gains is fairly minimal, but then once you start getting into the bigger ones, the change is a lot more severe. Okay. Either I'm just not cutting anything at all, or it's exceptionally long. No, it's just exceptionally long. Okay, I'm gonna put this back on. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna, well, a couple things. I'm gonna look and see if I have another gasket for this, because the one it came with is pretty nasty. If not, I'm just gonna make it. It's not that hard to make them. All you have to do is take some gasket paper and draw on the outside of it. Take a pair of scissors, cut it. And for the inside, you can take like a hammer and just kind of slowly pound on the center of it, and it'll leave an indent. And you just cut along the indent. That's pretty self-explanatory, but something else. I kind of want to see if I have a better seal than this. If I do, I'll put that one on too. And wouldn't you know it, I don't have it. So I just took a piece. I'm just taking my little ball peen. Making sure not to move. The paper. So now the inside's a little more difficult. And also hit where the screw hole is. Screw hole, you might have to take like a punch. But now, perfect cutting template. And this is substantially thicker. It's like 4 gaskets in one. So, did the jet, put it on, did a new carb or new gasket. I did put a new O-ring. The one that came with is kind of small and thin, so I put a much thicker one over the O-ring kit that I have. Still has the same plug though. Has fuel, but I don't know about the level. I might put a little bit more in if it's a little harder to start. I think it's like the half tank, or less than a half really. It's kind of low. Let's put a little bit more in. Like I said, this is a non-ethanol premium. I don't know if regular will spark knock, but I don't want to take that chance. Spark knocking is when the octane fuel isn't compatible with the compression and the heat of the engine, and it will actually pre-ignite, causing it to knock and pull the cord out of your hands, destroy the engine, you know, all good things of course. So, get that ready. We are on pulling the plunger up. Spark plug is good. I put it on a pressure washer stand to make it a little easier for me to kind of hold on to. Hopefully it doesn't just rattle off. Way too high. Let's turn this down like 1.5. That's right, that was like at 11. Crank it to 11 on. There's no, well, there is popping, don't get me wrong, but not the bad type of popping that you don't want to have. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Definitely think that there's an intake leak. I definitely think the jets need to be adjusted. It probably would have ran decent at the, like I said, the 4-pin, or the pin being adjusted all the way up. I just don't like having it like that. I'd rather have it in the middle. It gives you a lot more leniency and ability to tune it if you need to, because right now there's no load. That's important to say. Yeah, not having a load on it's a pretty big thing. So it runs pretty good now, but it might run a little bit different with a little bit of load. So that's why I wanted to leave a little bit of adjustment. If I need a little richer, I can. If it's too rich, I can lower it down. I don't really see a reason why it'd be too rich, but, you know, just in case. So in the middle is a good place to be. I think I will richen it up just a tad with that little screw I mentioned in the when we were taking it apart, just to kind of help even it out. It's a tad, just a little, maybe like an eighth. But yeah, this is how you properly tune a modified Honda clone. This is a 208. It should go for 196, 212s. Actual Honda probably with a 24mm carb should go be the same for a 22, probably even a 26. But it's a pretty good little project. Having said that, I don't really know much more I would want to do with this besides maybe a little bit of a shaving, but I might just order like a thin head gasket. They're usually made of copper, but I'll look at that. I'm not quite sure if I want to do that quite yet. But if you're having tuning issues, definitely look and see if you have any type of vacuum leak. I definitely did. And the jet sizing. Look at your plug. In fact, let's look at it now. So if you look at your plug, as you can tell, this one, it's not black, but it's also not white. It's a nice little color. Could be running a tad rich, but that's why I'm glad I have an adjustment. But yesterday was actually a little bit white, so that's not good. Yeah, that's a good way to tell if you're running lean, just by looking at the plug. Now you want to do a new plug, let it run for a bit, and then look at it. You could use it on an old plug and see if there's any difference, but at the very least clean. Just clean it at the very least. But that should be about it. If you like what you see, keep on watching. Definitely subscribe. If you have any questions on what you see here, let me know. If not, I will catch everyone later. Definitely throw a thumbs up if this helped you at all if you had the same problem I was. And I will see everyone later. Night.